Today on the podcast, we're talking about the latest updates out of ChatGPT. So they have a whole bunch of really impressive new integrations. I've been seeing a bunch of people posting on LinkedIn and on X some use cases they would imagine using these integrations for, specifically with Google Drive, with Google Calendar, and a whole bunch of other really interesting use cases. I'll be diving into all of that. They have a lot of competition, but I think they're actually doing something that can make them stand out. So we're getting into all of that today. Before we do, I wanted to mention, if you ever see like a new ChatGPT update or a new Anthropic update or a new Google Gemini update, and you want to try it out without having to get a subscription to every single platform that exists out there, my startup AI Boxes officially launched our beta product. It's called the AI Box Playground, and it essentially allows you to use every single AI model all in the same chat. So all the top models, over 40 different models, you can use all of them in the same chat. So you can ask Anthropic a question, switch to ChatGPT mid chat if you want to get it to answer. And sometimes, like when I ask a question, I get like a specific use case. Like for example, yesterday, it sounds funny, I was trying to come up with some song lyrics for a project I was working on. I was using Grok, and I was like, it just kept not giving me a very they're like very cringing kind of cliche. And I was like, oh, come on. So I wanted to go over and try it with Claude or ChatGPT. I'm like, surely, like I gave it a great prompt. I'm like, surely it wasn't me on my prompt. Some other model could do it better. If that happens to you in whatever your use case is, AI Box is an awesome solution because it allows you to pay one subscription. It's $19 a month, so you don't have to pay $20 a month for 40 different platforms. Pay $19 a month, you get access to everything, and you can switch between them all, and you can also compare inside the same chat. So if you're chatting with Claude, you can just get it to regenerate the answer with ChatGPT, and then you can have a little compare tab, look at them side by side, and see which one you like the best. So anyways, if you're interested, there's a link in the description to aibox.ai where you can go try it out. I would love to get your feedback on this new product. So let's get into what ChatGPT is doing. They have a few different things. One of the big ones is a meeting recorder. They also have connectors to Google Drive, to Box, and a bunch of other things. So the first thing that I thought was interesting when seeing this was specifically just the fact that this is going to be really useful for a lot of business users. There's, this ties into your cloud service. And so a lot of people are like, okay, big deal. ChatGPT's had the ability for a while to kind of connect to your Google Drive. And specifically, that's kind of for like, if you want to upload something. But this is not the simple upload that we've had in the past. This is actually the ability using something called MCP, Model Context Protocol. And you can actually, business users on the enterprise plan can connect these different Dropbox, Box, or SharePoint, or OneDrive, or Google Drive, all of these different platforms. And when you do a search on ChatGPT, or when you're asking it a question, you give it a prompt, it's actually going and searching through all of your internal company documents or personal documents on any of these platforms, in addition to the web and in addition to its, in addition to the AI model. So this is really useful, and I've seen people doing some pretty crazy things. One of the big things that I think is cool here is that they have recently rolled out as well Google Workspace integration. So you're actually able to ask it questions like, hey, do I have anything going on next Thursday? And while a lot of people are like, hey, like, why would you ask ChatGPT what I like? So, and it can go look at your Google Calendar and let you know. You can schedule things, delete things, move things around, like edit stuff. That's really, really cool with some of their agent stuff. But what I think is even cooler, because a lot of people probably are like, well, what is the point? For example, like with this calendar use case, they're like, hey, okay, what's the point? Why don't I just open my phone up and get my calendar app? For me, it all comes down to accessibility and the ability to do things hands-free. A lot of times I drive, and while, I'm not using my phone while I'm driving, I'm sitting there talking with ChatGPT, getting ideas on projects I'm working on. I feel like it's unleashed a whole new moment for me where instead of just listening to music, for example, podcasts are also awesome, of course, but instead of just listening to music where I feel kind of not productive, maybe it's entertaining, but not super productive, I feel like maybe like I'm really curious about something, and now all of a sudden I'm able to get the information that I wanted on that thing because I can talk to ChatGPT. Adding all of these integrations into that, I think, is huge because you can actually not just talk, but also be productive without having to pick up your phone. Maybe you're, landscaping and your hands are busy planting flowers all day long, this has happened to me before. I've, for back when I was in college, I ran a landscaping company, and I would listen to podcasts all day long, but beyond listening, I couldn't actually do anything. Now, I can only imagine if I had ChatGPT today with all of these integrations, I could literally be working on projects, dictating what I wanted it to do. And I think this is super, super cool while doing something where your hands are physically busy. Okay, so that's kind of my spiel on why that is useful. So what's the point of some of these other connections? How do I think this is interesting? So this is what OpenAI specifically said about all of this. They kind of talked about it, and they're talked about the fact that they have this ability to actually also transcribe your meetings. So this is a new feature that they're adding. And this is something that's in a lot of productivity suite. Like you already have this in Zoom, for example, and a bunch of these other ones. But now that they have it in ChatGPT, it essentially can generate notes. It has timestamps, citations, and it can suggest actions, right? So because you're now integrating this with your Google Drive and your OneDrive and all your other platforms, it's been able to go and see those meetings and actually can transcribe them or create meeting notes and other things after the fact, which I think is really, really interesting. So essentially, users, yourself, you're going to be able to ask questions and get information on whatever happened in that meeting, which is also very interesting to me in the context of some people are saying like you're going to send your digital AI avatar to go to a work meeting for you and it's going to bring you back notes or whatever. And I can't help but think in this circumstance, because a lot of people have been talking about this, Zoom has been building towards this and building a lot of tools that are going to allow you to do this. And they're like, eventually you're not going to have meetings anymore. You're just going to send your digital twin, quote unquote, avatar, quote unquote, to like go to a meeting and it's going to bring you back notes with any action items that you have, et cetera, et cetera. I can't help but think there's possibility there's going to be some miscommunication. You're going to miss some things that happened and that this is possible. And if you have any questions about it after the fact, I think this tool now is solving that problem where essentially it's going to go get all the meeting in there. And if you're like, hey, I know that, last month we were talking about a project about X, Y, and Z, and maybe I didn't see it in my meeting notes or my follow-ups, but did they mention anything about this or that? It's going to be able to go query it, bring you back the information, and then you're not going to be out of the loop. So I think this is going to be useful. I'm sure people are arguing, why do you even need to do this? Why don't you just go to your meetings? I think there's a ton of time that we can save. And for people that are able to kind of do this hybrid AI meeting stuff, some people are going to really like it. Some people will hate it. So I'll put that out there. But I think some people are going to really like it. The other thing that is interesting, when you get these meeting notes back, you can also get them dumped into Canvas, which is kind of like ChatGPT's document editor. It's Google Docs kind of tool. And so you can have all of that pulled into an actual document where you can then work and edit on your document. So if you got action items on a project, it can all get pulled into there. So to me, that actually does make it quite useful. Even if you went to the meeting, you didn't want to take your own notes, you could then, get it to pull in some of the action items and maybe start working on a report right there for you without you having to do that. So this is cool. Now, is this new? Is this novel? Is ChatGPT the only one doing this? Oh my gosh, are they so revolutionary? I would say no. This competes with ClickUp. This competes with Zoom, and also Notion just added some of these features. So they have, all of them have some type of transcription, meeting summarization features in their products. So this isn't the first one that's doing it, but come on, 600 million monthly active users on ChatGPT. This is definitely the biggest company that's doing it. And it's kind of interesting because back in the day when ChatGPT was first trying to compete, I always thought it was so funny because anytime they do something, as soon as Google copied it, with their chat models, I'd be like, okay, ChatGPT is the biggest, ChatGPT is the most well-known, but once Google does it, they have the distribution. Now Google is, it's going to go to a ton of people. You could kind of think of like the search inside of AI, for example, as being one of those big things. What's funny is it's kind of changing now where there's a hierarchy of like startups. Google does it, obviously, and we're like, oh no, it's going to compete with OpenAI. But at this point, OpenAI is getting so big, 600 million monthly active users is absolutely colossal, that when ChatGPT, OpenAI does something, it's impacting all of the other software companies as well that may not have 600 million monthly active users. ClickUps, Notion. I'm not 100% sure about Zoom. Zoom is pretty beefy. So I know that they probably have not grown as much post-COVID, but a pretty sizable company for sure. In any case, right now, OpenAI is introducing as well a deep research connections for HubSpot, Linear, and some Microsoft and Google tools. Those are all in beta. That's kind of what I was talking about with the Google Calendar connection. So what I did want to highlight here, though, is it's not just kind of Google and Google Calendar. It's also a bunch of Microsoft tools, which Microsoft, runs most of the software for most enterprises, somewhere between Microsoft and Google Workspace and Microsoft Workspace. You're going to find most companies. Linear is also in there, and HubSpot is also in there, which is a huge marketing company. So for marketing firms, this is really big. OpenAI also said that users can also prepare detailed research reports with their deep research. And they're able to do that using knowledge and data from all of those sources, along with, of course, web information. So this is really cool because you're able to get access to a lot of really big a lot of data from really big sources. I think this is absolutely amazing. This is all thanks to the MCP model context protocol that helps to connect all of this. So OpenAI is going to be rolling out new features in the future. I'll keep you up to date on all of them. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you learned anything new, make sure to leave a rating and a review. And as always, make sure to go check out the AIbox.ai platform if you want to use a platform and get all of your AI models in one place. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.